So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit how you got into this crazy world of crypto and blockchain. And while we do that, there are a couple things we're going to say. One, we're playing Rocket League. Two, our internet is horrible, so if you see me flying around the game, that's because I suck and because the internet is horrible. And three, Leigh has amazing hand-eye coordination, so she's going to crush it when we play video games.
Yeah, I definitely haven't played video games, I don't think, since I was like in high school maybe, and maybe that was only just one, so I'm going to talk a big game. We're going to see. I've just learned that there are other people on the internet playing with us, that these are strangers that we're playing with, so that's really exciting.
If everyone has questions, feel free to ask questions in the chat. We've got it right here. We're looking at ourselves, looking at you, looking at us. So yeah, we're gonna play some Rocket League and talk crypto.
Awesome. Yeah.
All right.
Questions about us, questions about crypto, questions about life. In general, just about me. I'm a journalist. I've been doing that for quite some time. Before I was covering crypto, I covered Middle Eastern politics and also the sex industry. I was a gender reporter.
So you basically have picked all the hardest possible topics to cover.
Yeah.
Wow.
Topics that people have really strong opinions on and are very difficult to fact check. That's evidently my jam.
Okay. I guess fact checking is pretty hard in the sex industry, crypto, and most definitely politics.
Oh yeah, especially Middle Eastern politics. And also I did a little bit of the Trump election. I covered that. For a company at the time that was called BECKWITH, and also for a few other companies as well. But I got into the crypto space almost 2 years ago now, and I still feel extremely, extremely new. Like I'm learning every single day, and there's so much to learn. So yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Well, we're very happy to have you here.
We're pushing the ball.
I'm scoring on ourselves, is what I'm doing. Although we're getting crushed right now, and it's going to be a bad day.
So hold on, how do we know when we're scoring for ourselves versus the other team, which is our goal?
So I'm on the blue team.
Okay.
Other side is the orange team.
Other side is the orange
I
team.
want to put the ball in the orange person's net.
Oh, and you put it in the blue one before because you're so talented.
Because I'm amazing. Because I'm a double agent.
But what I can't get over is like there's all these strangers that we're playing with. Are we on a team together?
Yeah, so I'm on the blue team. There are other people who are on the blue team with me. We all collectively suck. And then there's the orange team. The orange team is not sucky. They're doing well, and they're, scoring and,
And they choose names. Do we have a name?
Yeah, our name is, what is our name? Our name changed. I think it's Moon 21 Mil.
Oh, I'm super pro. Go to the moon. On it.
Moon 21 Mil. All right, here we go.
Okay, so I'm deeply impressed already because we've touched the ball a few times.
Hey.
That's really the goal here.
That was a lineup. That was a lineup.
So you've been reading a lot of our articles. Is there anything in general that you've been excited about in terms of crypto this week? I think we saw price action, right?
Yeah, so the price moved a little bit this week, which was interesting. It's always fun at CoinDesk when the price starts to move because everyone starts questioning whether or not that means this crypto winter's over, the bear market's over. It always comes up, and we had Sam, one of our markets analysts, on a few weeks ago, and every time it happens, I look at him and I go, so now do we buy? Do we wait? But no, look, the price is always fun to talk about, and everyone cares about the price. But part of the reason we brought you on, Leigh, is because you did a really big piece this week on Iran. And a couple startups in Iran, and overall just the Bitcoin industry in Iran, which I want to talk about. I have a couple of my own thoughts on that. It makes perfect sense, kind of why we're seeing the adoption there. So why don't you give us a quick overview about your story this week, and then we can kind of dive deeper.
Yeah, so there is a booming blockchain industry in Iran, and there are many, many startups. So one person told me there's up to 50 blockchain startups in Iran. I don't know if there's not really an official registry, but that sounds actually pretty much in line with what I see. So in my story in particular, it talked about two different startups. One is called Ariatech. Ariatech is being hired by the central bank of Iran, so like the government, the state of Iran, to create for them a blockchain system for their national bank, which would be compatible with things like insurance, like health insurance, all different kinds of industries that obviously use the banking system. And the other startup, which is totally separate and has nothing to do necessarily with the central bank, is called Kuknos. Kuknos. Okay. They are a newly formed startup, which is funded by 20 private banks. So not the government bank, but just like we have private banks.
But still Iranian banks specifically.
Iranian banks specifically, yes. That have funded this new startup called Kuknos. And Kuknos is going to create also the Kuknos protocol, so a blockchain system. and they want to issue a gold-backed cryptocurrency, which would be the first national cryptocurrency in Iran, although again, not from the central bank. It would still be nationwide, and that would be called PayMon. Now, a few weeks ago, there was a huge conference in Tehran where the government basically unveiled what they think is going to be part of the regulatory system for cryptocurrency.
Right.
And so PayMon is not officially approved yet. They are still in the process of getting all that legislation worked out.
Now, is it likely that the Iranian central government is going to approve it, or is it still up in the air?
Like, whoever knows what politicians are going to do, but my thought on that is you don't have 20 banks standing up in front of the central bank giving a presentation about a cryptocurrency they want to issue if they don't have confidence that they're going to be able to do it.
Especially in a country like Iran that's got really strong central control.
Exactly, exactly. From my perspective, by the time we've heard about it, by the time they're presenting it at a national conference in front of regulators and world leaders, they've already gotten their backdoor clearances for a considerable amount of that.
Right.
That being said, the central bank was very clear that their version of the SEC, like their securities regulator, will be also in charge of seeing. They need to get approval from the central bank, but then also it will be regulated by other government bodies in addition. So there's a lot of people that need to line up in order for PayMon to be issued. That's not happening, super anytime soon. However, one of the CEOs of a bank that is funding Kuknos had said that they see that being used, for example, for real estate purchases and payments in Iran. There's a lot of reasons for people to need cryptocurrency for large-scale purchases and also for transactions between business to business, which Kuknos would allow.
So let's take a step back. Why, one of the things we talk about, one of the things that kind of comes up in conversation a lot around crypto in the United States is that it might not really be useful for the average American, right? Because like our financial systems are pretty advanced. Like, why buy a cup of coffee with Bitcoin when I can just use my credit card? It works better. It's faster. Like, why do this? In Iran, they actually do have a need for this. So let's dive a little deeper into that. Like, so what's the situation right now that we actually might see legitimate adoption of crypto in Iran relative to another country like the United States?
So I think Iran is one of the most interesting cases right now in the entire world because we're seeing this conflict between the use and the value versus the system that we already live in today. So Iran, first off, has very high inflation, maybe not as high as Venezuela, but considerable inflation. Of the real, and also sanctions and other kinds of political contexts make it very difficult for them to transact with the outside world. A lot of people wrongly say that the reason that Iranians are interested in cryptocurrency is because they want to evade sanctions. They have really no interest in politics. What they want to be able to do is live their regular lives, being able to send remittances to friends and family. There's a huge Iranian diaspora. As a matter of fact, I saw an article in The Economist that over 150,000 educated Iranians leave the country every year.
Really?
So you have to imagine that you've got this huge diaspora of people that are always wanting to be able to transact back and forth, and they have difficulty sending money to Iranian banks because those are sanctioned off.
Right, that makes sense.
So this is not about people wanting to fund terrorism or do anything nefarious. It's about them wanting to live regular lives and do things that we do every single day.
It's interesting. Years ago, I read a book, and I'm not going to remember it, but effectively the author's argument was, if you want to see change take place in Iran, specifically in Iran, do the exact opposite of what we're doing right now with sanctions and instead invest aggressively in the middle class. Because that will, we can talk more about, I know you're getting into economics, that will enact the kind of change you want to see in this country. I wonder if by creating these sorts of cryptos where these real estate transactions can start going through, where the inflationary problems are not as big, that it could actually be a backdoor for these middle-class individuals to start pushing back against the central control that the government possesses right now.
So you bring up a really good point, which is the relationship between the people and the government in Iran. So I want to be really clear, on a personal level, I don't support trying to think about changing other people's countries. And one of the things that they unveiled as part of this conference where they're talking about regulation is what could become really strict rules about how people could use decentralized currencies, currencies that are not issued by Iranian banks. So that includes Bitcoin, that includes Ethereum, that includes anything that is not controlled by an Iranian entity that the central bank and other regulators can slap the wrists on for anything. So those, again, are not fully they're not the law yet.
Right.
It's not illegal to accept Bitcoin payments in Iran right now, but it could be if you don't want to automatically translate that to the real. And the regulators were very clear and open about saying, like, we don't want to give up our monopoly on monetary policy, right? They want Iranians to be able to maybe accept Bitcoin from abroad, but then immediately translate it into the local currency.
Right, that makes sense.
So that obviously was not well received by Bitcoin fans in Iran.
Right.
However, the reaction was not, okay, well, screw the government. To the contrary, these people are cooperating with the regulators, with the lawmakers, and trying to show them the value proposition that Bitcoin has for the broader economy, and the way that actually giving people more freedom is beneficial for everyone. Is not about destabilizing the government, is not about destabilizing the bank. It's about giving the individuals within them the power to transact with the broader world, to be a part of the global economy. And I think like the really interesting thing about this is like, so okay, Bitcoin's added value is being able to not be controlled by a king or a nation state, But on the other hand, the real world is we live in countries with governments that want to be able to control monetary policy.
Right. They need to control it. Their existence depends on that.
So this is really interesting where we see adoption picking up in Iran, and then we saw the government very clearly push back and be like, no, we want to be able to control this.
Right.
And then we also see the people who are the strongest advocates on the ground. I mean, truly, they understand the technology, they understand the use cases, saying like, okay, let's work together and figure out ways that you can keep your government infrastructure without curtailing our rights.
Right.
So we'll see how successful they are in convincing the regulators to change what they had originally proposed.
So PayMon, right? That's the name of it?
Yeah, PayMon.
So how does PayMon, if it is because it's a gold-backed currency, that's what gives the stability required to do big transactions that the typical Iranian person can't do right now because of the hyperinflation of their currency? Is that the gist of it?
They could probably right now make big real estate purchases with their currency. They wouldn't be able to do it maybe from Paris. But the other thing that PayMon allows, so Iran is an Islamic country, needs to apply Islamic finance. There's like a whole philosophy of the way it's
not collecting interest or...
Not collecting interest, having things that are grounded in real life, tangible value. So whether that value is work, whether that value is gold, you can't have things that are just like based on nothing. So PayMon would allow people to make transactions globally, people to invest. Like, let's say you're an Iranian and you want to invest in your own country and you want to invest in infrastructure or projects. You can do that on a much more stable scale without any inflation using PayMon. But that's if PayMon is issued the way that it's saying it's going to be issued. There's still a lot of open questions about PayMon.
Do you want to play?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So I'll teach you the buttons.
Okay.
This is how you go faster.
Okay.
This is how you go in reverse.
Okay.
This is how you boost.
Okay.
This is how you jump.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
We're waiting for the next game to start. It'll start in 34 seconds.
Do I go, it's vibrating.
It does vibrate, yeah. Yeah, you steer with that.
You steer with this?
Yes.
What does this one do?
Nothing.
Nothing, okay. I won't do that one. I'll press A all the time.
No, trigger, right trigger.
Yeah.
That's how you that's how you go fast. Left trigger is how you brake. B is how you boost.
Yeah?
And A is how you jump.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, okay, 1 and 2 and 3. Ah! Where's the ball? I'm gonna, hold on.
They just scored.
I...
Not your fault.
Not my fault, but I don't even think I did.
You just press A to skip, and you can...
Okay. I like that I'm not playing against you because now I'm not embarrassed. Like, these people on the internet, they have no idea that I'm terrible at this.
Well, Turkcoin is very excited to watch you. You got the controller, and Turkcoin immediately said, "Here we go."
Oh, okay. Hold on. How do I get towards the ball?
You gotta turn around.
I'm trying. Hold on. How do I turn around? This is okay. Hold on.
Pull trigger.
If I press all the buttons at once, does that help?
So my advice, when that happens, when the ball's behind you, put the stick to the right.
Okay. Stick to the right.
And then hit the trigger.
Okay.
And you'll turn.
Okay. Okay. This is good. This is excellent. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna touch the ball this time. The goal at the end of the game is for me to have touched the ball.
Once. But you gotta actually drive towards the ball.
I'm now on the sky.
Hit A.
I'm not. Okay. A.
All right, get the ball.
Hey, hold on. Okay, so I don't know if you've ever seen me drive, for example, in California.
I don't think I want to get in the car with you.
You don't want to.
I think I'll sit on I'll watch.
Ah! Oh, I can flip.
You can flip. Oh, you.
Oh, hold on.
Hey, your team scored.
That's excellent.
Turk Coin's laughing at you.
Yeah. I'm going to try and touch the ball. This is genuinely my intention.
If Leigh touches the ball, that is a win in Rocket League. We might lose the game, but we will have won the war.
All right, hold on. I want to boost.
Oh,
Forward.
man.
Forward. Yes, hold on. Hold on. I touched it.
Oh, no, you didn't. You didn't touch it.
I didn't. How do I know when to touch it? Okay, hold on.
The ball would have gone forward.
Oh, the ball would have gone forward. Hold on. Oh, no, hold on. Okay, so clearly.
What I'm finding funny about you playing is that you've got a direct straight path.
Yes, I do.
And then you hit the stick real hard to the left or right to get away from it.
I mean, yeah.
So here's what you're gonna do. The next time that happens, when you have a direct path, hit the B button, the red button.
Okay. Oh.
It makes you go faster.
No. Oh, hold on. Go.
You don't have a B button though.
Okay. Oh, you only have a certain amount of. Oh, hold
See,
on.
bottom right hand corner, you see the 0?
Yes.
All around the map, there are these little dots that if you click the dots, you get boost power. And then you can collect that boost power and you can then go faster.
Okay.
I'm telling you guys, in like 2 weeks, Leigh's gonna come back on the show and she is going to have bought an Xbox, played probably 50 hours of this, and she's going to be an expert. Because that is actually Leigh's way of doing things. Apparently, she's decided to do all the extremes. Leigh decided to do keto.
Oh, I tried that for like 2 weeks. It was
After
awful.
being a vegetarian for a decade.
It was so awful.
So
hold on. I can't multitask. Hold on. How do I get around? I'm gonna touch the.
So Leigh tried to do keto for 2 weeks after being a vegetarian for years.
I'm going away from the ball now.
Leigh then decided that she wanted to learn about economics, so has now bought economics textbooks.
Yeah, that's
not
the
just
thing.
like the average book about economics. No. Textbooks.
Hold on.
And read one book and decided she wanted more.
Yeah, I got way too many textbooks right now.
So I find that Leigh is one of those people who, when she wants to experience something, she does it completely.
Okay, I feel like if I gesture with my entire body,
But you have to use the stick as well.
I have to use the stick. Okay, got it. Stick is important. I think I'm going away from the ball at this point.
I think you were. Thank you, Turk Coin. Watching Leigh play is indeed great content. So, all right, now I'm really gonna mess up your life.
Okay.
Ready? We're gonna go back and talk about PayMon some more.
Okay.
So basically what you're saying is that because this coin is backed by gold, or would be backed by gold, it's effectively like a stable coin.
Kind of, yeah.
It follows Islamic rules of a digital asset that is backed by a physical thing.
Yeah.
Which then would allow someone in Paris, an Iranian.
Or also someone in Iran, right? Who doesn't want to deal with inflation.
Iran, right. Or so it would allow anyone who doesn't want to deal with the inflation but wants to have something much more stable. Hit A. You're good. It would allow you to.
I'm gonna touch the ball. No.
You have to hold the trigger and B at the same time.
I have to hold the trigger and B at the same time. Okay, hold on. Go around. I mean, you know what? I'm just gonna jump and figure if that helps. Also, I mean, the same kind of value that a security token would give us here in the U.S., PayMon could give Iranians, and the ability to transfer for example, the real estate or for whatever, in a self-custodial manner.
Yes. So Turk Coin asks, is this a new cryptocurrency? So just for the TLDR, PayMon is a proposed new coin backed by 20 private banks in Iran.
Yes.
That they have proposed to the Iranian government to create that is backed by gold, so it would follow all the rules set forth by Islamic law on currencies and transactions and things like that.
And also by the government, right? So the government decided that no one will be able to issue a currency without getting approval from them, and that all currencies that are backed by any kind of asset need to get approval not only from their securities regulator, but also from the central bank.
So what are your sources saying? Does it seem likely that the government's going to approve this?
Yeah, I mean, I will be really surprised if they don't.
Okay.
Anything could happen.
Sure.
It's politicians, but for sure, I mean, you don't have a bunch of bankers standing up in a conference in front of the key regulators, giving their presentation, talking to press about it in a country like Iran when they don't have some kind of confidence that they have leeway.
Right. And is it a decentralized project?
Ow!
You touched the ball. You touched the ball.
I'm sorry. Who's the best who's ever played any game ever? I'm gonna go back and touch it again.
Oh man, you touched the ball.
Oh yeah. Oh, hold on. And I need to figure out how to get back to the ball. But then once I do that, that's gonna be a thing, and I'm gonna do it again.
So is PayMon a decentralized project at all? No, it's just
No,
it's,
of course not. No,
yeah, it's centralized.
It's issued by banks, and I don't think there's any. I mean, the government was pretty clear that they're not into the idea of decentralization.
Right, because they want to have control over.
Can I run into other people that
can.
run into me for not getting the ball?
So what you can do is, if you go fast enough, you can run into somebody and then you can blow them up.
How? I want to blow someone up. Let's see if I can do that. Okay, but first I have to figure out how to coordinate and get back onto the field. Okay. No. Okay. Clearly left is up.
Turn this thing the other way. Other way.
That's the other way.
And hit trigger. There you go.
Yes! Excellent! Oh, no.
Just in time.
Ha ha!
Nope, they blew you up.
They blew me up. Oh, that's rude.
All right. Is there anything else with regard to all the stories you've been, all the coverage you've been doing on Iran that we should know about?
I think that I just want to really emphasize again that these people are working together with institutions to try and create regulations and a framework so that people can own and transact with their own Bitcoin and not only rely on bank-issued cryptocurrencies or systems, blockchain systems. So Aerotech, for example, does not have any token that they're issuing, but they're just like a blockchain system for transactions, and I'm definitely not playing ball. But the goal is for the Iranian community...
But you're talking super smart,
yes. So... but the goal for the Iranian community is to be able to use Bitcoin. This is something they want. And so they're working very, very hard to show the lawmakers in their country the value that it adds.
Sure.
And that it does not necessarily need to be a threat to the nation state, which is something that I think for the community at large, like this is the first time. The Petro was a joke, right? We all, like, these projects are not a joke.
But the Petro was literally an attempt to get around the...
Yes, this is not an attempt to do that. And this is not a joke. The people that are working on these projects, these blockchain projects, have been in the Bitcoin industry using these technologies for years. And so if there's any, if there's anything that I'm excited about watching in terms of figuring out how nation states interact with decentralized technology, this is it.
Yeah, no, this is super exciting. So let's do, since you're on the startup beat, let's do a quick heat check or cold check on crypto winter. So obviously, most of July was spent talking about a lot of layoffs.
Yeah.
Consensus, the big Ethereum studio had a bunch of layoffs. I know that there were some people from SpankChain who were let go.
Yeah.
So a variety of these projects had layoffs. How are all the companies you're talking to feeling right now? How are things looking?
I rarely talk to companies these days that are not raising or looking for money. Like everyone is like knows that their bandwidth is limited in terms of the staff that they've kept.
Even those that did ICOs?
Including some.
Wow.
Not all. But I don't think treasury management was really front of mind in early 2018 the way it should have been. So what we're seeing now is a lot of people realize like, oh crap, if I want my startup to exist in 2 years from now, I need to come up with a revenue model or I need to get some more investment. And I need to pare down my staff as much as I can to be lean and to make sure that everyone I have on staff is contributing to that end goal. Like the days of thinking that people like Joe Lubin will just fund infinite experimental technology are over. We've acknowledged that that's not the model anymore.
Unless the price of Ethereum were to spike again back up to the...
Even if it is, I really feel like the people at Consensus learned their lesson in terms of like, that's not something that's... You don't want to be subject to the market.
Right. So I take it we're going to be hearing about a lot of fundraising announcements over the next few months, or are they struggling to find money?
No, they're definitely struggling.
Yeah.
That's a thing. And even people that have been in the space for a long time that have very interesting projects, and I don't think that's unique to startups. I mean, you see that with Grin. Grin has been having a hard time getting donations.
Right. Yeah, I mean, but Grin specifically, they found a couple of interesting ways of raising money. I know that Poloniex did a deal with them, or a contribution thing where all fees.
I'm stealing your phone.
You're stealing my phone. all fees.
So we have a PayMon hater. Yes. So hold on. Before we finish up the topic of Iran and move on to like the startups in general,
yes.
I want to acknowledge this PayMon hater and say that just like in our crypto community in the Western world, you know, there are the classic Bitcoiners and there are the enterprise people and there are the people who think that everything else is a shitcoin. Iran has the exact same thing. So definitely PayMon was not universally beloved at all.
No, I mean, of course not.
Nor was Kuknos, or not Kuknos, sorry. Nor was Borna, which is the project of Area Tech, which is sponsored by the central bank.
Right.
That's crazy, right? Like, can you imagine the Central Bank of the United States sponsoring a blockchain project?
No.
Like, it's not a token project; it's a blockchain project.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, that's. So yes, I acknowledge you. The project may indeed be just a show off, as you say, Mahmoud, but. What I love about the Iranian community is just how diverse it is and cooperative, even when everybody definitely has different views on the space. You know, whether you think that he's a shitcoiner or, you know, he's a salad or you think that he's, you know, a radical libertarian, whatever. Like, they're all working together to try and make this a real industry in Tehran. Yeah,
no, it's definitely. When I look at all this stuff, when people freak out about shit coins and various, all these different, you know, their tribalism.
Yeah.
This is still so early with this technology that we really, like, in the grand scheme of things, so many of us are on the same side, not the different sides, just because, like, our beliefs and how to do it are different. They're not drastically different relative to those who are, like, legit no-coiners, who are just completely opposed to blockchain technology or cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
Like, so this is more of a, like, the community needs to, you know, stop fighting so much, but, you know, nothing you can really do about that, I suppose. When it comes to people's money, they get really territorial.
I think that if the project, time will tell. Like we're seeing with startups, right? A lot of projects are closing down that maybe didn't have a realistic plan or use case, and we're gonna see more of that. I think. We're going to see that these startups need to be able to prove, just like any other tech company, that they have clients and users, and if they don't, they will fall by the wayside.
Yeah, but I mean, we've gone through this a couple times. You know, the market's gone up and down, and
I'm so jealous that you have such a good perspective, because for me, this is all new. You know, 2017 is when I came into the space.
Yeah, so I came into the space during the last winter, and like companies, they struggled to raise money. Like events were shutting down. Just like it was different times, but companies survived. Like out of that came legitimate companies that are now strong companies.
Yeah.
And it's great because, you know, that's always the startup scene where 90% fail, but the 10% that survive are legit businesses. And as this industry continues to evolve, we get more and more legit businesses.
Can I just say, okay, fine. I was gonna shit talk and say that you're not touching the ball as clearly often as I did with my expertise, but then you touched the ball.
And then I touched the ball, yeah.
So now I got it. You're much better at touching the ball than I am. What can you say?
Yes, I do know how to touch the ball. Again.
Ow! And you hit it. Now blow somebody up.
I will try to blow somebody up.
Yay!
I wish I could get the crazy mode to play where you have weapons and stuff, because then you can like punch people and they scored. We are doing horribly.
Yeah, you know, and I didn't really help. Sorry, man.
It's all good. It's all good. Like I said, you're here for the crypto knowledge.
Oh yeah. So yes, we were talking also about startups and about
just how the market's feeling. Like the people you're talking to, are they still excited? Are they scared? You know, what are their feelings?
I have to say I'm really inspired and impressed that a lot of people are being just really pragmatic about the situation and saying to me, you know, I still hear, you know, some people that are talking about disrupting this and disrupting that, but I also hear a lot of people thinking about like, okay, so for the next 24 months, we need to XYZ, we need to reach XYZ, like milestones in terms of like users or clients or products. Really tangible words, while maybe 6 months ago, I would hear a lot of people just talking about the protocol. Like, nobody cares about your protocol. What people care about is the value that you can bring with that technology, right? So there's a lot more recognition of that.
Right.
I don't see people, maybe just because I'm talking to crypto startups, but I don't see people being like, okay, well, we're done for, you know, we're screwed. To the contrary, they're strategizing, and strategizing in unique ways depending on their industry.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, that's that makes me happy to hear because, you know, the different thing about this winter than I think the last winter is this winter, or the last winter, there was a real, like, is this actually going to last?
Yeah.
Or, like, are we really going to die? And this time it's like, yeah, the prices are depressed, like, people are losing some of their jobs, and I still can't score a goal even when I'm by myself. Literally by myself. Wow. I also have a warning sign on the screen that's, wow, yep, the Wi-Fi is fun.
Oh my gosh. I like that we're pink. Can I say that I'm pro the pink?
Hey, that's me. I love pink. Pink is my favorite color whenever I do anything sports or video games.
Good.
It's always pink. And yeah, I remember years ago I decided to do a softball league. And I think our t-shirt name was Magenta Pitches. That was our team name, or I don't know what it was, but we had the brightest pink t-shirt on the field. We played one game.
Nice.
I think I tore my rotator cuff and never played baseball again. So that's my story about baseball or softball, and I don't play sports.
Yeah, no, I don't play sports either. Definitely hand-eye coordination is not my thing.
But you play video games so well.
Oh, thank you.
You're gonna go again?
Okay, I'll go one more time. Okay, so I press A.
Yes, you press A. You press A again.
A again.
And then you press A again.
And A again.
And then you're done until the game starts.
Okay.
But we are going to move on to our next segment called This Week in Bitstery.
Okay.
This Week in Bitstery is all about the things that have happened over the previous years of Bitcoin and crypto's life during this week.
Oh, I think I broke it.
You hit this.
Okay, good, excellent. Did not break it. Good to know. What happened this week?
I'm gonna pull it out of the envelope. It's a fancy envelope.
Nice.
I'm telling you, Doc AV, he brings the best props to the show. In case you don't understand, Doc AV is the guy behind the screen. He doesn't show his face. He's not a guy who wants to be seen. He just wants to be. He wants his productions to be experienced. So while we get to be in front of people getting laughed at, he gets to sit in the back perpetually laughing.
Yeah. Oh.
And I know it's a good show depending on how much I hear him chuckling. And I can hear him chuckling.
Hold on.
You guys can't hear him chuckling. So
Okay.
let's go on to This Week in Bitstery.
Oh.
I think we have a
got the
couple
direction of
this
the
week
ball.
or just one? All right, so we've got one. So 2 years ago, on February 22nd, 3 years ago,
I'm so close to the
February 22nd, 2016, a California bankruptcy judge said that Bitcoin is property, not currency. And this, every time we do this, I feel like it's New York 1.
Okay.
And I feel like I have to like hold the newspaper up to the camera and let them see that there's an actual story here.
Yeah?
Ever seen the New York 1 I'm talking?
No.
All right.
No, I have no idea.
Try and find it next time you have a day off. On New York 1, it is literally the first channel on your cable box. And the morning news is them just holding up a newspaper clipping and then talking about that story.
Okay. Oh,
And then they go to another newspaper clipping. And then another newspaper clipping. And it is literally, it's ridiculous. So, let's see.
I push all the buttons at once.
You will drive in circles, blow yourself up, not actually achieve anything.
Okay. So if I'm
Turn the stick, hit trigger,
and
let go of the stick.
How is it that I'm doing the same thing, but when you tell me to do it, then all of a sudden it works?
Because sometimes you just need to be reminded on how to do. Like I said on Twitter the other day, every great journalist needs an editor.
Yeah.
Every great video game player needs a reminder.
Yes.
And hey, you guys have been playing for a minute and a half and they've still not scored on you. So your defensive skills are obviously very impressive.
Extremely.
So this is interesting. So this bankruptcy judge said that Bitcoin is property, not currency. You're driving away from the ball.
Everyone's just touching it. I think it's really interesting that some people consider Bitcoin a commodity, other people consider it property, and other a currency. I mean, that's just like confusing in terms of legal, but it's also very interesting in terms of like the value that it adds, right?
Well, so there's a variety of problems, I think, with this, whether it's property or currency or we know it's now not a security. The SEC has said it's not a security, but these different classifications, because property, when you sell property, you have to pay taxes on that. You don't have to do that, like if something is a current, or if you use it in some way, you have to.
I touched the ball!
And you had like nearly a shot on goal. That would have been amazing.
But I wonder does it have any benefits in terms of inheritance, if it's property versus a commodity?
Let's see what the article says.
That is a really nice thing about working at CoinDesk is like there's actually like a historical perspective you can look
Yeah.
at. Okay, hold on. So how does it? I turn the stick.
Turn the stick until you're facing the right way, and then let go of the stick.
Oh! Yes!
Yes!
Yes! Clearly, I am the best player that has ever existed. And I'm gonna do it again. Oh, boom!
Oh, man.
Touch the ball. Yeah. Yeah, eat my dust, people who didn't touch the ball.
So, all right. So this is why this conversation came up in conversation. So there was a lawsuit suing a former promoter of HashFast, which I actually don't even know what HashFast was.
Okay.
But effectively, this guy was suing for $1 million in Bitcoin. If it was a currency, then the promoter would have had to return 3,000 Bitcoin, which at that time was valued at $360,000. If it was deemed a commodity or property, then the appreciated value of that 3,000 Bitcoin, about $1.3 million at the time of this article, would be up for grabs. So because they called it property or commodity, the promoter would have to pay the current value that was lost, not the original value at the time. It's like, if I steal your phone, I have to give you a phone back. I'm not a legal person. I'm not even gonna try to explain this one. All I know is that this continues. We're 3 years after this happened, and there's still confusion about what cryptocurrency is.
Yeah.
Whether it's property, commodity, security. Well, we know it's not a security now for Bitcoin. Currency. The IRS views it differently than other agencies. It makes tax time really difficult.
Yeah.
So there's actually a woman on Twitter who I follow. We'll have to get her on the show. Maybe we'll see if we can get her on the show before tax time, where she talks a lot about crypto and taxes and how to pay all that. I'm going to make a verbal note. DocAV, remind me to find the crypto tax person. I want to say her handle's like Crypto Tax Girl, but anything's possible.
I kill you, and I touch your ball.
Unfortunately, you need to go in the other direction.
Okay.
So.
But also, they were intimidated by how great.
They are. They went. You know what? There is a smart crypto journalist who was playing this game and talking crypto at the same time. Like, this is a handicap, actually.
Yeah.
I'm making you talk about crypto while you play this game.
Yes.
Imagine if you just got to play silently.
I would also suck.
You don't know. You don't have to tell anyone that. Although, funny story, you guys are winning right now.
Oh! I'm winning this time?
You guys are up 2-0.
I'm extremely excited about that.
So, Mahmoud is very excited that you touched the ball because, for God's sake, touch that ball once, get off the wall, no, and then yes. So they're very happy. Your fans are ecstatic about your ability.
I did it again, Mahmoud. You think you're talking shit? I touched it again.
Yeah, see, Mahmoud, you got nothing on Leigh.
Okay, I'm happy with myself. Thank you very much. I touched it many times, not even just once. Remember?
Golf claps, everyone. Golf claps.
Thank you. So I get that like different agencies look at Bitcoin in different ways. Do you ever get frustrated when you think about like for yourself, like your own crypto assets, or like as a company wanting to like use something, like how you would need to account for that? I guess.
Yeah. I mean, as a company accounting for it. I don't think any company should keep crypto on their balance sheets. Personally, I don't think that. And let's be real.
That was one of the problems.
It's one of the problems
that Consensus and a lot of other companies have.
Right, is they kept all of their crypto on or all of their holdings in crypto. So like when ETH is $1,000, yeah, you're riding high and you're loving life, but when ETH suddenly tanks, well, you're not doing so well anymore. And suddenly your fixed costs that are by and large denominated in USD or Euro or whatever, you need more ETH now to handle that. So I don't believe, even if it was a currency, in its current volatility, I don't believe that companies should keep it on the books.
Yeah.
Or if you're going to, you got to keep such a small percentage. Because it's not yet really treated as anything safe, or there's no real clarity as to what it is, that adds more to why companies shouldn't do it. Like banks, there have been stories about banks shutting people's business accounts down because they say anything about crypto. Like I remember years ago, before I joined CoinDesk, I launched a business related to the crypto industry, and is it not going to load? Oh, here we go. And they literally had a question that asked, like, are you related at all to crypto? Like, are you doing anything crypto related? And I was just doing a services business, and it was still like, no, I'm not doing any money transfers. I'm not doing anything with Bitcoin itself. I'm not even accepting Bitcoin as payment, even though I had multiple clients who would have loved to have paid me in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have received Bitcoin. But that's also the confusing thing is like, if I received Bitcoin, so let's use this as an example, right? Let's say that I decided to do a project, I did some freelance writing for somebody, right? And they paid me in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
If I wanted to ever sell that Bitcoin for cash to pay my bills, I would have to first pay taxes. I have to first pay taxes on the receipt of said Bitcoin at the value of that Bitcoin at that time. So if I receive $100 worth of Bitcoin, and I have to pay taxes on the $100 of Bitcoin. Then if I want to use that Bitcoin to buy something, I then have to sell it, which if it's now valued at $110 for a Bitcoin, I have to pay capital gains tax on that $10 difference.
Yeah.
That's just confusing. Like, why? I already paid taxes on this thing.
Yeah, I'm not pro the property thing precisely because of that. Like, if there's any benefit in terms of inheritance, cool, but it's really a pain in the ass. For somebody like me, like, Bitcoin has value in terms of my ability to work in paying freelancers and to collaborate with other journalists.
Yeah.
And it's a pain in the ass to keep a reminder of like, okay, so we pitched the story on this day, but I bought the Bitcoin to pay for this on that day, and then I paid the person on this day.
It's so rough, and then you got to go to your accountant and stuff and say, so what is your cost average for this Bitcoin? I don't know. I got paid in it to do work. I wasn't thinking about my cost average. So yes, to answer your question, it is annoying as heck. Hey, I scored.
Oh!
To be clear, I didn't actually score. I hit the ball against the wall, and the blue guy scored for me, but you know what? I'll take credit for it anyway.
I'm pro taking credit for it. Congratulations, man.
Oh, see, I'm so good at this game. I'm so good at this game. All right. I acknowledge your existence, Doc AV. I acknowledge that you have told me a note. All right. So it is very frustrating, that confusion. And I feel like the IRS really needs to kind of come to grips with it. And I don't know if there's a way to, depending on how it's treated in specific use cases, determine what the tax treatment should be. I don't know. Like, if I've received it as compensation, then treat it as a currency. If I have bought it and held it, treat it as a commodity.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's possible.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not. I don't know. And that's why I definitely want to get this woman from Twitter who I found, I guess, a month ago. She's gotten really big over the past couple of months because
tax season's coming.
Tax season's coming, but like even more than that, it's just like, 2 years ago people had ridiculous gains, and then this year people have had ridiculous losses.
Yeah.
And one of our speakers at Consensus Invest, he put a video out a couple weeks ago, and he was like, he said something to the effect that if you're not selling your crypto now after all these losses and taking those losses on your investments, you're dumb, because you should take advantage of those effects. Taxes and crypto, one of the most confusing topics.
Yeah, I've talked to several people who are talking about selling their crypto to take advantage of the losses and then wanting to buy in later after tax season. That seems to be a popular trend.
There's a rule, and I don't remember the name of the rule, but with stocks, you're not allowed to sell a stock and then immediately buy that stock back.
No, not immediately buying it back. But
you think you have to wait 30 days or something for you to get any benefits from the losses. But I feel like I think what this advisor said is that with crypto that doesn't exist. So you could literally sell it, take the loss, and then immediately buy it back. And now you've got a huge loss that you can reduce your tax hold on. Now, again, we are not tax accountants, we are not tax lawyers, we are not any of that stuff.
Yeah, no.
We are Leigh and Jacob who are playing video games and talking about crypto.
Mahmoud asked us a question, and I think it's a really interesting one, so I want to address it. He asked, is Bitcoin equal to freedom? And I mean, in my personal opinion, I think Bitcoin is a tool through which we can access greater freedoms that were not available in the previous financial system. But I mean, the way that you use Bitcoin is entirely up to you, right? Like if you're keeping your Bitcoin on Coinbase, I'm not exactly sure I would call that freedom. There's nothing wrong with it, but Bitcoin is a tool, and its ability to give you greater freedom depends entirely on how you use it, in my personal opinion.
I 100% agree. Are you kidding me? The one guy, yes, I 100% agree with you. Freedom that is a dense topic on what is freedom.
What is freedom?
But ultimately, I do think that a free moving currency or ability to transact without intervention is definitely a trait of freedom. So I would agree with that.
Yeah.
But I don't think I don't kind of get into the like hyper almost like obsessive love of Bitcoin to such a degree where people are like, this is freedom. No, it is a tool, like you said. It allows for freedom, but that does not mean it is freedom, because anything can be manipulated to take rights away.
But I think the thing that really inspires me about Bitcoin is it gives us this opportunity to think outside the systems that we've been raised to believe are permanent.
Yes.
They are not permanent.
Agreed.
To the contrary, we built them, we can deconstruct them, or
Absolutely.
we can create alternatives to them.
Yes. I completely agree with that. Another question?
So, Mahmoud says, so in general, you think that this can help freedom? And yes, I do. I think that Bitcoin is a tool that when used thoughtfully can help increase a person's freedom. And Muzek also wanted to say that he agrees with us that the reclassifying of BTC as a currency. Hold on. Yes. Yes. Dude, you're so good at touching the ball, man.
Look at me. Look, watch. Oh, look at that. Just lined it up. A little money coming out of my butt.
Boom. Boom. Into
All right. So what was being said?
He said that he agrees that classifying Bitcoin as a currency versus commodity, depending on individual use cases, it might be confusing, but the current system also is confusing.
Right, and it reduces the use of it as a currency. But then again, there's a community of people in crypto Twitter who would say using it as a currency is a scam, and that you don't use Bitcoin as a currency. So,
I mean, it depends on your skill level, right? Like, so I am not yet a sophisticated enough user to secure and to store and transact with large amounts of cryptocurrency. So for me, it would not be a good idea for me to think of it as a long-term investment until I'm better. I'm good.
Okay.
Until I'm better at protecting that asset.
Yeah.
Until then, practicing with my wallets is, for me, very useful. And so that's kind of currency-ish. But I genuinely believe that every single person needs to evaluate their own skill level when it comes to using a computer, like a computer-based product. Like
right.
This is just a digital asset, and to decide for them what kind of value it can add.
I 100% agree with you.
Money Z Chris, peace right back at you, man. So I think we're like approaching the last 10 minutes. If anybody has questions, you should ask them, because clearly I am manning the phone right now, and I'm all about the questions. Oh, we've changed. What is this? It's like we're in a
This is what happens post collapse of all the banks.
Yeah, exactly.
Bitcoin has taken over, and now we drive monster trucks, hit soccer balls in a weird disaster world?
Yeah, it's like this dystopian disaster world.
Or is this what happens if we don't destroy the banks?
Ooh.
Is this what happens if Bitcoin does not reign supreme?
Right? Open questions. Blow somebody up. Do it. You're also making money trails. I'm pro.
I'm not gonna lie, I wish that money was in my pocket. Wish that money was in my pocket. Nope. Now I'm not gonna be able to blow anyone up.
No?
I'm not gonna try anymore, because if I try, it won't happen. If I
Okay.
don't try, it'll happen.
Yeah, just play hard to get with the, oh, boom! Somebody blew you up. Thank you, Mahmoud. I also hope you have a good night. And you said have a good game for us.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Come back, subscribe to the channel. We'll see you every week.
Yeah.
Playing video games, talking crypto.
Do we get to play different games?
We can play. If you would like to find another game, Leigh, and come back on Crypto Controller, consider this an open invitation to both come on the show and suggest game.
So this is going to age me a little bit, but
I'm older than you. You know this, right?
Mortal Kombat?
I don't know if they have Mortal Kombat, but Mortal Kombat was a great game. And we will have to see if we can find that, because
Do they have Mario? Like, these are the games I know.
Mario is on Nintendo. I don't think they have that on Xbox.
Okay, so clearly I've not been in the video game world for quite some time. Oh, okay, so hold on. Muzak has a question. Do you think segmentation of the crypto market is helpful or harmful? If we end up with 100 stable, popular cryptos, it's almost like the current system.
Do you mean multiple coins rather than just one or two coins?
Yeah, he's like saying if you have like 100 stable, highly liquid, functional cryptocurrencies, is that helpful or harmful? Do you think the segmentation of crypto is like almost like the current system? I'm not an economic expert. I don't know if I could invent a better system.
Yeah, I have some thoughts on this.
Okay.
So, look, I very much do believe that Bitcoin, like, yes, it's first, but I think that it really solves so many individual, from an incentive model to security model to an economics model. So I think it did. That said, I'm not arrogant enough to assume that there are not better ideas out there.
Yeah.
So at this stage of the industry, why not? Like, yes, maybe 99% of them fail. Maybe there is only one that survives. But at this stage of the industry, I think that it's important to get a lot of interesting things out there, test them, see what works or doesn't work.
Yeah.
And then ultimately, I do think that there will be an ultimate network effect where one or two of them do ultimately win. I don't know if I agree. I think it was like maybe 2 years ago, people started saying that we're going to live in a multi-coin universe of of hundreds of tokens. I don't really think I agree with that. I don't think people need that. Though I do think that there will be big adoption of NFTs.
Really?
I do.
You're bullish on NFTs?
I am bullish on NFTs. So maybe there's something to be said for very few currencies, but lots of tokens as a representation of physical assets.
Yeah, okay.
That might be a thing, but I understand the concern, but that ultimately we're still so early in this industry. I wouldn't lose sleep over that. Like, yes, sometimes other things might get more news than Bitcoin, but in the grand scheme of things, it's still so small relative to the size of the world and economy that we live in.
Yeah, I'd be really curious. This is something I'll think about and maybe ask like next time I interview an economist, for example. Because for me personally, I hate technology. I only use it for what it gives me. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to.
Yeah, you should see how angry Leigh looks when she's typing a story. She looks like one of those angry cats memes.
It's what I look like. I don't like these things, and I also hate working with my bank. I would not.
I hate working with my bank too, to be clear.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to have a bunch of different cryptos for the pleasure of having a bunch of different cryptos. I'm only going to use them for the value that they can give me.
Yes.
And so that's assuming that you can have many diverse assets that could offer me value that I can't get in traditional assets.
I 100% agree with you on this. All right, Leigh. So
you're welcome.
We are going to be wrapping up in a couple minutes. We would love to have you back.
Oh, thank you. I enjoyed this.
You are an expert gamer. It is so clear. I have learned a thing or two from you on how to potentially score goals, like I just did.
Nice.
I mean, amazing. And I've learned.
I'm really happy about you scoring these goals. I'm like, really, I have so much respect. How do you do it all the time?
When you play games as much as I play games, my life is not nearly as exciting as yours. You got to cover politics and got to cover sex workers and got to cover this crazy crypto industry. I play video games and think about building media businesses. So we're just in a different place. Mine's much more boring than yours, but I know how to score goals in this game.
Okay, so for the person who just logged in and missed it when we talk about Iran, by the way, will this be online later? Can people watch it?
Yes, people will be able to watch it. Subscribe to the channel. We'll also upload it to YouTube afterwards. People can watch the full episode. But definitely subscribe to this channel so that you guys get updates when we're going live. Once you subscribe, you'll actually get an email, or if you have the app, you'll get a notification that we're going live. So yeah, anyway.
Nice. So you'll be able to watch it later as well. You can subscribe to the channel. And I have an article on it. So you can always just Google my name and look at CoinDesk, and the article is there, and the video that we just made is also there. So anyone who missed the fun Iran talk, there's lots more information where that came from. And we talked a little bit about startups, and hopefully within the next few weeks I have another article coming out that's a little bit more inspiring in terms of startups that are making this whole bear market work for them. And
that's going to be exciting. So there are startups who are like, you know what, bear market kind of sucks. We're going to do good things out of this. We're going to get good things out of this.
Yes. Learning to make lemonade out of lemons.
Yes, when life gives you lemons, throw them back at the person who gave them to you.
Yeah, that's the one.
All right, so we are going to wrap up this week's episode of Crypto Controller. I think starting next week, we're going to be going 2 times a week.
Oh my gosh.
Tuesdays and Fridays.
Wow.
We are committed to making Crypto Controller a thing. We think it's a great opportunity for people to ask questions, engage with our incredible journalists, and see my beautiful face as I suck at video games week after week after week. So subscribe to our channel. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. I'm sure there's a lot of things you don't like. And Leigh, thank you so much for joining us on this show. And I'm sure we'll see you again very soon.
Yeah.
Everyone out there, thank you. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Take care, guys.